Hello. Welcome to episode 272 Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs, as usual, and thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, I'm just putting out another warning. I don't do this in every episode because most of the time I forget, basically. But if you haven't subscribed, well, I think you should, because I don't want you to be the last person on the planet to subscribe, because everyone will be looking at you and you'll feel really bad about it, and it's not a good look. So just do it anyway. It's free and nothing bad will happen, I promise. Okay, look, this is episode 272, and in this episode I want to talk about the very last track on the Rothman and Jacobs album, which is called Better Late. Well, that's the album that's called Better Late. The track is called Fields of Sunshine, and I want to bring that to you with a video and a little bit of chatter about what that final track is about. So I want to tell a little bit about what it's about, and then just say a few words about the album overall. The album, first of all, is out. It is available. Go stream to your heart's content. It's ever so good. I've got a little bit tired with the joke that I continually make, and I'll probably make again in this next little section. 40 years in the making for Better Late, hence the title, etc. I think forget about that. I think probably better just to see the album as a collection of 12 good songs, I hope. And I also very much hope that the next album's not going to take quite so long, because we've got quite a bit of it sort of identified and even ready, dare I say it. So, maybe we could pull that 40 years back to, I don't know, 10 or 20 years for another album. Anyway, let's talk about Fields of Sunshine. And just to kind of kick us off, I'm going to return us to a conversation that I was having here with Johnny not very long ago, where we talked about all of these tracks, and we did have a few things to say about this final track, Fields of Sunshine. By the way, I'm going to play it to you and give you a video at the end of this, so hang in there, because it will certainly be worth it. And it's all rather beautiful, actually, because the track itself is quite a chilled, beautiful track. Let's hand over to our conversation, and I'll be back in just a moment. Fields of Sunshine, then. So Fields of Sunshine, the last track on the album, quite a mellow, chilled track essentially about climate change in various different ways. But we were just saying before that when we wrote it, we wouldn't have necessarily had the same vocabulary about climate change as there is now, because obviously so much has changed.
Yeah, no, but also the words as well, because I think it just is in a way it's lovely, because it just first of all paints a picture of a beautiful summer's day that then goes wrong in a way, which kind of like is a nice opening couple of lines as well. I think it's just
and then it gradually gets a bit more kind of apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Which it sort of does, deserts and mountains and all sorts.
No, exactly. So that world that we living is being ruined, and this is what could happen. And we were really. I mean, it wasn't necessarily mainstream. I think we were both very, very aware of it. And,
I think it's interesting, because I think we were both a little bit self-conscious of the fact we'd written an ecology song. I think we called it a song. It was about the ecology, because that was the vocabulary we had. And now, obviously, it's much more mainstream. And I think we wrote it with sincerity. It was a comment. It was a comment, even in a roundabout way.
Yeah, and we wanted people to listen to it, because of the message that it was providing. But the only thing it's obviously has taken us to this time to get people to listen to it.
Yeah, it's taken a little while. As I've mentioned earlier, we are releasing our debut album, and it's only taken us 40 years, and I think that's, it is an overnight sensation.
Okay.
Hopefully, all I'm saying is I'm hoping we'll have a second album before we're both 140 years old, 130 years, or, well, whatever it is.
That gives us another 100 years.
It gives it,
exactly.
Ages, yeah.
Absolutely.
Back to the studio. So, words for Fields of Sunshine, go back a long, long way. Also back to probably the end of the 80s. So if I have let me show you, I'm going to show you the word book, the lyric book that Johnny and I used to use without tripping up the entire studio. Have a look at look, just making sure it's still recording. But this is a bit impromptu. I wasn't planning to do this, but this old book, which is falling to bits, this old book has genuinely the, kind of the original scribbled words by pen, mostly in my handwriting, of songs that were written, 4 decades ago. And it's just sitting here because, in a way, it's the safest place to keep it. I mean, if the dog ate it, I think I'd be quite upset. But if you look in here, just idly flicking over the pages, I'll just show you, a random page. It's this kind of thing, it's just tons and tons of quite small writing, lots of crossings out. I'll find you another page, just, lots of things crossed out all over the place, and a ring goes round one bit. Yes, this is good. No, that's rubbish, etc., etc. And the date of that is 1988. I think we were working backwards through the book. I don't know why we'd started in at the end. So yeah, 88. Then we come back to 87. That's right. And the book starts in about early 86. This book starts. So we are genuinely talking about 40 years ago, like as of just in a few months' time. So you will find the original words of Fields of Sunshine in the same way that you'll find the original words of Didn't I Say, and a few others. Not We Are the People, that was a little bit newer, but quite a few. Their origins come from this spectacularly, decrepit book, which is absolutely filled from, cover to cover, goes all the way to the end with the songs that we wrote. And interestingly, I might have mentioned this once before, but when we talk about, writing the songs out, we're talking about writing the lyrics out. There's not a hint anywhere of the music that goes with it. There's not even much. Occasionally I've written things like D flat, which now I have to say is of limited value. It's either I remember them or I don't, or or between us we remember them or we don't, and that's quite interesting. That no music was ever written. It's just the words, and the words themselves had to trigger enough of the memory of what the music was like. On the whole, it worked. Sometimes, things got lost, but I like to think that if it got lost, it wasn't that great to begin with. He says, slightly hopefully. Okay, so there's the original historic book there. Just a couple of things I want to say about this album. It is a good album. I'm really very sort of pleased with it. I think it sounds good from beginning to end. I wouldn't say it necessarily sounds current. I just think in a way we were never actually that much in fashion, so there's not very far to go in being out of fashion, if you see what I mean. I think it's not like we were intensely identified with a particular period that is now gone. We were never really in fashion. We were always kind of slightly floating across the top of it all. So look, 12 tracks on this album. We talked a little bit about Fields of Sunshine, and you'll hear it's much more chilled, hymnal almost. But I think just before we get into that and I say goodbye to you and we move on from this album, a couple of things. I would say if I had to pick my best favourite tracks, this is something I've done on my website is talk about, the key tracks from each album, which is completely subjective. It's quite a fun thing to do, but it's not, it's not factual. It's just how I view it. So my favourite tracks on this album, I would say, or the most important ones as well, I would say, Rock On, We Are the People, Take You Home, and Give Me Love. So that's 4. I've picked 4. I was going to pick 3, but I couldn't. Those are kind of like the cornerstone tracks of this album. But gosh, I think it's all good. Have a listen. Do have a listen. So with that, I guess there'll be a bit of a pause now from Rothman and Jacobs as we get ourselves together to put the next album together in the new year. The good thing though is the chances are that I will be seeing a good deal more of Rothman than I have done, in the last couple of years, simply due to the fact that he's going to be staying or even living in London for the foreseeable future. So that is a bit of good news, really, in terms of keeping this thing moving and turning, keeping the wheels turning on our fabulous music career. Okay, I will be back to finish off some of the tracks that we haven't yet discussed or shone a light on my own album, Organic, which came out the week before. If you haven't heard all of Organic, please do. And in fact, if you haven't heard all the Goldthorpe Foxes album, go and listen to that. All, the 3 albums are now out, so you've got no excuses. Goldthorpe Foxes, my own album, Simon Jacobs, the Rothman and Jacobs album, all 3 are now out. In fact, this morning I put together a little playlist of kind of like the 5 best tracks of each one, and I will be popping that somewhere, probably on my Spotify page at some point. So listen, do take a little interest in all 3. I really appreciate the comments we've had so far about any of those 3. And look, I'll say it again as if I need to say it. I'm very proud of all 3 of them. There we go. And I'm delighted that it's been a very intense autumn season getting everything out there. And we've still got a few more of the tracks from Organic still yet to explore. So with that, all for another day, I leave you with Fields of Sunshine and say thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoy this 12th track. Take care. Bye-bye.
Winds of change know your name, riders from a dawning age to waken you in morning dew. Time is turning every page. Fields of sunshine, fields of wheat. You can feel the grass grow beneath your feet. Winterland, falling snow, longing for the sun to grow. I'll warm the land and thaw the sea, if you want to follow me. Fields of sunshine, fields of wheat. You can feel the grass grow beneath your feet. There's an old scarecrow swaying in the wind. He's the only one watching. I don't know where we've been. Desert sun with hills of sand. Once this was a promised land, but now we've found a sullen ground. Won't be home to any man. Look out for the sunshine, look out for the rain. You can bury your head now and wonder who's to blame. Fields of sunshine, fields of wheat. You can feel the grass grow beneath your feet. Looking back when we were young, summer gentle on your tongue. The days were long with summer sun. Never thought the night would come. Look out for the sunshine, look out for the rain. You can bury your head now and wonder who's to blame. Look out for the sunshine, look out for the rain. Bury your head now, wonder who's to blame. Fields of sunshine, fields of weeds, fields of weeds. You can feel the grass grow beneath your feet.